It's all happening down the road at Parliament. It's deemed to be a historic day for English football. But what will be the realistic outcome to it all? Will it be a game changer to reign in the Wild West, or will it be a toothless waste of time, or a vehicle even for votes in what is, after all, an election year? All sorts of questions being asked in and around that. Simon, an interesting article this morning in the Times. I don't know if you picked up on it. Very keen to get your views in it. The headline, "Deaths were such a setback for Marcus." For those who don't know, Marcus Rashford's mum, Miss Melanie Eldora Maynard, is writing an autobiography, and a flavour of the story has been published in the Times today. And she brings up a variety of things, not least how tough times have been for her son. He was awarded, after the Queen awarded him an MBE for his work, Marcus worked hard to achieve a new contract at his boyhood club, of course, Manchester United. His mum tells us he loves United. Marcus produced an unbelievable performance last season, scoring 30 goals and 11 assists to warrant a new contract. But after that, Marcus' mums tell us in this article regarding the book, Marcus lost a second and very important person in his life, his cousin Nathan, in November, after a very good family friend, Garth, had died a year earlier, and that set him back a lot. It was a lot for someone so young to deal with. And of course, she goes on to tell us, Marcus is human. So he will have ups and downs in his life like everyone else. Marcus is in a very good place. He will never let anyone down, but you always need to be wary of people's intentions around you. Sometimes people around you can be wolves dressed up in sheep's clothing.
Well, that's very true.
So, I mean, that is very true. And his mum, going to the length she's gone to, I think begins to paint a picture of, don't just think Marcus can go into a mood and perform when he wants and not perform when he doesn't want. He's human like everybody else, and he's got thoughts and emotions, not just on the field of play as a footballer.
As we all have.
I think fans are quick to forget that, and she would probably be hinting in that area.
Well, that's fine, and that's very convenient for the advancement of the position that she wants to take. But Marcus Rashford is judged both economically and realistically by his achievements on a football field. And if he walks around looking like impending doom, sometimes there may be good reasons behind it, but everybody has challenges and tragedies in their lives. Some of us don't have the ability to be being paid £300,000 a week to be able to soften some of those tragedies and be able to soften our lives.
Yeah, look, but can £300,000 a week soften those tragedies? Of course they can.
No more than £500 a week for someone emptying someone's bins can. But we've all got to get on with our lives. And if there's a demand for Marcus Rashford's mum to write a book and someone wants to read it, then fantastic. I've always had this concern about parents being involved in the financial affairs of their children. I know that there is no greater eyes on the balance of the prize than the parents looking after their children, but when it becomes a commercial entity and a cottage industry as a result of it, I always feel that parents' job is to give kids the best opportunity, not to profit from their children's talents. Now, she's writing a book. If someone wants to read this, if they want to read, if this is what the book is going to be about, what Marcus Rashford has had to endure whilst getting to a very privileged position in life and have all the experiences that most of us have in our lives.
Which you always bring it back to.
But we do, don't we? We all have tragedies and challenges. And then when you start to criticise somebody about that or opine upon it, you've got to be careful of their mental health. Rubbish. Adversity in life happens. You can't make every adversity in your life something that you then have to protect someone's mental health from. You have to build fortitude and resilience.
But if anyone can talk about Rashford,
his mum can.
It's his mum.
Okay, so then if
anyone has his interest closest to their heart, it's his mum.
If somebody wants to, it's a commercial venture. If somebody wants to read a book,
it becomes a commercial venture, Simon.
It is a commercial venture.
It becomes one.
It's a book being written about a commercial subject, which is ultimately Marcus Rashford, his mother's life, and it's being done for money. So it's a commercial venture.
But is it being done just for money? She knows the audience is huge out there.
I don't know.
People will buy it because anything to do with Marcus Rashford and Manchester United of course, will be in demand.
Well, look, I mean, if she's done it from a philanthropic point of view and she's going to give all the money to charity...
She might.
Then
who knows?
Then if that's the case, then fantastic.
Yeah.
Then absolutely, it's a wonderful endeavour. And if people want to read this content, then fair play to them. Because
but why shouldn't parents... I mean, you went off on one when you and I were introduced to... Well, I ended up interviewing him. Neymar's father out in Qatar.
Yeah.
Who had the boy's interests very much at heart. Who wasn't just going to sit there and praise the lad all the time.
Well,
he said he's under pressure because of his notoriety worldwide, but he's just got to deal with that, and he's got to deliver on the field of play. This was his dad.
Fine, and that's an explanation and a justification of whether Neymar has shortcomings and an explanation as to the reasons why. I get concerned when I see people being involved in the future of their children but profiting from it, when really it's not their place and it's not their talent that's getting them in a situation where they're being and there's a disconnect between a professional advisor and a father. Now, I am absolutely in the camp that sometimes they can morph into the same thing, and if you're getting best in class advice from your parents, then okay, that's a fortunate thing to be in, and perhaps a Jude Bellingham argument, maybe a stacking up of it. All too often, football has this propensity to allow people to be paid for doing very little because it facilitates a solution to the person that should be the ultimate beneficiary, which is the player. We saw once upon a time these laughing jokes when Paul Gascoigne is going to Tottenham Hotspur and he's on the phone saying to Terry Venables, I want this for that and that for my dad and this for my sister. Oh, by the way, and I think that's quite contemptuous. I think it's disdainful, and I think football clubs should have put a stop to it. This is something slightly different. The woman is writing a book, and I'm assuming that this book isn't just about Marcus Rashford. I'm assuming it's about the challenges of overcoming adversity, the background to what brings forward a perceived superstar, and the powers behind the throne, which is the mother and the influence and maybe single parenting and all this kind of stuff. And there might be some very good life lessons in there. And one chapter may well be about the hook that will give her some commercial credibility or recognisability in the publishing marketplace, which is her son. I don't have any particular objection to it.
You object to the fact that when it comes down to she might make a profit out of it. Well, that's when you get annoyed.
I have a fundamental.
But it's inevitable she'll make a profit.
I have a fundamental and ideological difference between. I believe my responsibility is to give my children an opportunity to be successful in their own right. I've had my life. My life is my own. I make my decisions. And once my children have been given that opportunity and they're then successful, I don't believe it's my opportunity to cash in on the back of my children's success. I don't believe that. Now, if someone else does, that's their gift, but that's my belief system. If my daughter and my son go on to do very significant things in life, the last person that will be there holding his hand out will be me.
I get that. But
by the way, if I'm also negotiating deals for my son and my daughter, because I'm more capable of negotiating deals than most people, with due respect to the mistakes and successes I've had, I would then also be making sure that all that money went back to my children, because it was their talents that were generating that money, not mine.
OK, we'll be reading about it further down the line. Marcus Rashford's mum, Miss Melanie Eldora Maynard. The autobiography, of course, and a flavour of it is in the Times today.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.